Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Renee and today I am setting up my 2025 reading journal. I believe this is the 5th year I've made my own reading journal, but only the 2nd year of filming the process for others to see. I wanted to take a quick moment to thank everyone who followed along in 2024, especially for my 2024 setup video. If you haven't seen that one and would like to, I'll link it below. I have 2 A5 journals from Archer & Olive for 2025. The gray one is for church and is just a traditional dot grid journal. However, my choice for a reading journal is quite a risky one this year. It's going to be a challenging year because I'm going full blackout. I have kind of known that I wanted to do a blackout theme since my last reading journal setup, but I just didn't know what kind of theme I would want to do. I did a fantasy map theme for one of my 2024 monthly spreads, and I thought about doing that for a full setup. I kind of wanted to wait and see what journals would be available though, and by the time I bought this, there weren't many blackout options left, so I went with this celestial theme, and that's what helped me choose my theme for the actual setup, and I'm extremely happy with it. Before starting on my actual spreads, I skipped to a page that will be at the end of my 2025 setup and before what will eventually be my January spread. I got a pack of white Papermate gel pens from Walmart because I didn't like the white pens I already had, and I also got these Moonlight pens from Amazon. So I'm going to be using this page as a bit of a guide so I can see what all of these pens look like on the black paper. I also have quite a few miscellaneous pens and markers that I'll try to link in my Amazon cart if I can find them. I ended up being extremely surprised by these because I feel like I haven't always had the best luck with Jelly Roll pens. What you're seeing now is all of the miscellaneous items I had. They are Deco Color paint pens that have a very strong smell, a golden Sharpie, and metallic brush tip pens from the Paper Studio. It is no secret that I love a dark academia theme, so when I saw this pack of deco paper and stickers, I had to get it. They ended up giving a really nice vintage feel to this celestial theme. I decided to use these pieces of paper for my title page, and then my camera battery died. It wasn't even page 1 yet, so we're off to a great start so far. Anyways, this is what my page looked like after I charged my battery and got back to work. The title page is just paper, but we are going to be doing quite a bit of sketching with pens in this notebook. You will be able to tell that I obviously do a lot of pre-planning for my setups, and I will still make several mistakes along the way, so just imagine if I didn't have a game plan. My remedy for the infamous first page that is weirdly attached to the front page is to cut out this sketched out moon and sun into a Dutch door of sorts. Here I am trying my best not to smear the white ink, but it won't matter in the end because it takes so long to dry that it will later transfer long after being applied. The drying time and how often they get stopped up is what makes gel pens such a pain to work with, but just look at it already. The white is so pretty against the black. I really hope these wonky stars don't drive people crazy because they're going to be on every page. I didn't want them to be anywhere close to perfect. They're wild and I love the look of them with this theme. I think the combination of the stars and clouds end up looking slightly like a 90s cartoon, or at least that's how they make me feel. I took a break from the drawing and got my small cutting mat and my X-Acto knife so I could cut around my sun and moon to leave the Dutch door that won't actually be able to be used like a door. That's just what my brain wants to call it. Once it gets cut out, I paste this piece of paper that came in a set of scrapbook paper from Hobby Lobby, and then I glue my Dutch door flap onto it. I then wrote 2025 on the right page. I usually have a yearly total section, but I didn't even think of that while setting this up. So I'll most likely find a way to fit that in by the end of the year because I love seeing my reading stats at a quick glance. You'll see me here and throughout the journal slightly struggling with the gel pens, just not wanting to write the way you would expect a pen to write. I chose this blue gel pen for a bit of detailing around letters, and it just keeps it from looking too flat. Then I went in with one of the metallic brush pens from the Paper Studio for the same purpose. I'll use it throughout my setup to add small stars along my pages. My next few pages are what a lot of people call a book shelfie. It's a place where you can write a title on the spine and color code it based on your rating. When the shelves get filled up, it turns into a really nice visual. I would usually draw my shelves myself, but I really did not want to do that on black paper, so I bought this bookshelf printout paper from the Paper Joy on Etsy. The listing that I purchased this from had it formatted to fit A5 paper for two different designs, one with 100 books and one with 50. The one with 100 books would have been impossible to use as a book tracker with titles. I'm just using the one with 50 books over and over. Even with this one, I'm not a fan of the detailing on the spines because it takes up so much space, but that really wouldn't be an issue at a larger scale. I've used the same color scheme for my ratings for years, so I had to go through my gel pens to rework those for this year. I drew it out on the black paper and on a lighter piece of paper because I'll be using them on both at different times. I did the rest of my bookshelfie pages off camera because it's a bit redundant. I moved on to my monthly favorites page, which is the same layout as 2024. This is where I will eventually print out the book cover of my favorite book from each month. Sometimes that can be a really hard decision. Here is one of those moments where I make a mistake because I get distracted. I crossed my H instead of my T in monthly, but don't worry, I fix it. I'm honestly surprised that I noticed it so fast. I just went over it with a black pen and a Tombow marker a few times until it was less noticeable. You can still definitely see it, but I'm not too worried about it. I did the same thing I did on the front page with the detailing around the letters, but this time I used a purple pen instead of the blue because I had already used the blue for the monthly boxes. Then I grabbed out my white gel pen to write all of the months down and then get in the little detailing of stars and little tiny polka dots for smaller stars. Up next is my 25 and 25 spread where I picked 25 books that I want to read in 2025. This is a spread I struggled with because it's not an even number, so it wasn't as easy as just doing rows of 4 like last year. If you all can count better than I can while working on things while listening to an audiobook, you'll notice that I end up with a whole row on the back page that I do not need. I will probably end up using the extra spaces for a place to take note of which of these books ended up being my favorites. I cut out the excess paper to create a Dutch door. This helps it actually feel like one spread since it spans 4 sheets of paper. Here is probably one of the best examples of how annoying it will be to use these gel pens. Even after waiting a while to turn pages, I had quite a bit of transfer. I'll probably have to wait an hour to close my journal after using the gel pens, and even then, I'm not too sure that it will stop the transfer. When I finish my setup, I lightly sprayed my pages with a clear sealant, but I don't want to do that all the time because it does make the pages buckle a little bit. I printed out some covers of books I want to read in 2025 and arranged them how I wanted them before sticking them to the page. Arranging these really showed me how much I'm drawn to books with a blue cover. Some of these are books I didn't get around to in 2024. Most of them are new additions to the list, and some of them are anticipated releases for 2025. This next spread doesn't have much to it. It's a book bracket where I'll put each monthly favorite head to head to see which one will come out on top. I left it blank for all of 2024 and completed it in one go at the end of the year. I grew up playing sports, and I live in Kentucky where most people live and breathe Kentucky basketball. In school, we would always have March Madness bracket contests, and I've always enjoyed my fair share of participating in things like fantasy football, so I love being able to throw in a bit of competition between all of my favorite books. Drawing all of these lines was a very time-consuming task. I had to draw the vertical lines, then let it dry before going back in for all of the others. It didn't take long before I decided to ditch the camera and finish it as time allowed. I ended up finishing off my design pretty similar to what my other pages look like. My next spread is 12 books by 12 friends. In reality, it's 12 recommendations by some of my friends, not by 12 different friends. I really like the way this layout turned out with the deco paper overlapping the black journal paper. I think the paper inserts and my sketching ends up being tied together really nicely. A lot of the books that are on this list are rollover from last year because I didn't read many from my 12 and 12 list. And then some are new additions that friends have either asked me to read or I saw them shelve them on Goodreads. The next several pages are from my 2025 year at a glance. This is a place where I can list every book I read, my star rating, and what page my review of that book is on in case I want to go back and find it. I made this spread in 2024 and it's so satisfying to see the pages all filled up. This is another set of pages where I did a lot of off-camera work because of how much waiting around I did to try and limit how much smudging happened. As I finish this up, I just want to ask, do you have any plans to make a reading journal, or do you use one that's already pre-made? Have you made one before? I'm also always very curious to know what everyone's reading goal is for 2025. How many books do you plan to read? I've set mine at 100 books for the past few years, and I'll probably keep it the same way. I read 150 books in 2023, and as of December 18th, I've read 133 books in 2024, and I suspect that 2025 will be very similar. I'm also curious to know how you consume your books. Are you strictly a physical book reader? Do you always have your Kindle on you, or do you listen to audiobooks? I love a physical book, but I do always have my Kindle on me, just in case. And I'm a huge audiobook listener. I have a job that is almost an hour from where I live, so I listen to books while I drive. I also listen as I work on projects because I'm an artist. I will also listen while cleaning or doing laundry because it's a chance to multitask and get more than one thing done at once. My last spread has this drawing of a moon-like planet and a colorful Milky Way. It will also be a place where I can list DNFs, but it's a small space because I don't often DNF books. I mostly chose the same colors that I've been using throughout my setup, and I chose deco paper that had a bit of an observation or research feel to them. I just want to say thank you for watching, and I always hope that my setup and themes are able to inspire someone else. If you have liked this video and have enjoyed my setup so far, please consider liking, subscribing to my channel, and leaving a comment. And here is my final flip through of my 2025 reading journal. Feel free to pause and take a closer look if you would like. And please let me know which is your favorite part about it and if it has inspired you to create something similar. And once again, thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys in my next video.